Hi everyone, this is Jim. Welcome to this Blitz chess postmortem. This is a postmortem of my Blitz game number 220. I was black here. My opponent played e4 and I play c5, the Sicilian defense. Here we can put on a little noise there. And then my opponent plays d5, introducing d4, introducing the Smith-Morra gambit. So I took here, and then he played c3, continuing with the gambit. If White chooses not to play the gambit, he has a couple of choices here. He can take the pawn right away with the queen, or he can play knight to f3. But c3 is the gambit line, and black has some choices here. He can take the pawn to accept the gambit, or he can play knight f6. That's what I often play here. I'll show you that. Knight f6, pawn to e5, and knight to d5. And this is turns out to be a position from the Alpine Sicilian. So learning how to play this will solve, I'll let you deal with two different openings with one setup. So, but in this game I decided to accept the gambit by playing d takes c3. So let's go back and look at the opening book. So knight takes, normal way. What white gets out of this in exchange for the pawn is just easy development. It's probably a little more accurate for me to develop my knight to c6 first. I played d6 first. But I think this just transposes in a move or two. So this is a very standard position in the Smith-Morra gambit. And this move e6 is designed to prevent attacks on the f7 pawn. There's the idea of the knight coming in here or here perhaps to attack on f7. So you play e6 to blunt that right away. White can castle, and yeah, you can see from this position white is just much better developed, and his pieces have good squares, good active placement for the pieces. But this is playable for black too. Of course, you see the engine thinks it's about even. And then queen e2. This introduces one of the main ideas, well, one of the ideas of the Smith-Morra gambit, which is to bring the rook over to d1. It looks a little bit funny the first time you see it, but this pin on the d-pawn can be very annoying, so this is a good setup. I went ahead and played knight f6 at this point, and after rook d1, I play the move e5. With the pin on the d-pawn, there's now the threat of white playing e5, and I can't take back with a pawn, so this knight on f6 would have to move again, and just doesn't have many great squares to go to. So you generally want to stop that, and e5 is the simplest way to do that. So now I guess we get out of the opening book with the move knight g5. It looks like white can continue with h3 or bishop to e3. I think bishop e3 is a very logical developing move. Also maybe bishop to g5. And another idea here is to play bishop to b5 to try and trade off this knight and grab this pawn, because this pawn on e5 is a bit loose. The d-pawn is pinned, and if this knight were gone, then white could just grab that pawn. But knight g5 was played. Let's go look at this from the notation tab. And this is not a great move. Now black is doing okay here. It's not a full pawn up, but just slightly better. I can go ahead and castle, and that's the main move here. The main idea is that you can defend this pawn with your rook and castle, so that's how you get out of this attack. And now the knight doesn't have a whole lot to do here after one developing move. I can play h6, and the knight just doesn't have anywhere to go except back. So I'm feeling pretty comfortable, but you see it's not a huge advantage for black, only just a slight edge. I play a6 to keep pieces out of the b5 square, which is another idea for white in this opening. Queen d2 was played, maybe setting up some sacrifice idea on h6. And I play b5, kicking the bishop and getting a square for my bishop. Rook a to c1. I thought that was good. I was planning to play my queen to c7, and now I don't want to with the rook there. So I searched around for another plan, came up with this knight a5 idea. I was actually a little bit confused during the game. I thought the knight was loose there, but I'm defending it with my queen, so after knight d5, there's really no threat on my knight. There's no discovered attack because the knight is defended. But let's back up. Knight d5 is actually a mistake. if he's going to put something on d5, it's better to put the bishop there. Then if I were to trade it, for example, he could always take back with a piece. And that's what white wants. White wants to end up with a piece on the d5 square and continue to put pressure on my backwards pawn here. The way it went down in the game, after knight to d5, I go ahead and grab the bishop, and he takes back, and then I take the knight. And now he has to take back with a pawn. The bishop is gone, and he can't take back with a queen because I have a bishop on b7. And now this setup is very good for black. The d-pawn, which was the main weakness in my camp, is now shielded from attack by white's d-pawn. So, and white's d-pawn itself is a target. I've already got my bishop trained on it. So this is good for me. So I play rook c8, and just didn't want to let him have the c-file uncontested, and I needed to develop that rook anyway. g3, I'm not sure if g3 and king g2, obviously he's trying to get his king off the back rank to alleviate some maybe back rank problems, but I think that wasn't necessary at that point in the game. So I just charge right ahead with f5, grabbing some more space on the king side. And now my opponent decides to go ahead with this sacrifice, which he'd been thinking about for a while, I guess. Bishop takes. But in this position, it's just not good enough. He gets two pieces for the bishop, but he can't bring his knight into the attack. So he's really just got the queen out here by itself. The bishop is guarding these squares that the knight might jump into. So anyway, I can shield my king with my rook, leave the bishop there to ward off the knight, and his rook is not easily getting into the attack either. So he tries to reroute the knight with knight to g1. Perhaps he was getting out of the way of the f-pawn. Maybe he had some ideas of opening up these files. I attack the queen. Queen goes g6. I attack it again. Goes to h5. And now if the queen had gone to h6, I would have chased it in with the bishop to g4. So h5 is probably as good a place as any for the queen. So I just put the bishop on f6 so that my queen can come over and help out with the defense. And also I want to put the queen on this square where it attacks the d-pawn, which is only defended by the rook, and it's already under attack by my bishop. So white plays h4, trying to get his attack going. But I get in my move, queen f7, and now there's no real good move here for white anymore. I thought during the game, I thought maybe he could try this idea, defending the pawn with the bishop. But I have this move, bishop takes h4 here because of the pin on the g-pawn. Didn't notice that during the game, but that means this move, it's better not to move the queen, actually, or just to trade it off. So that's what he did. And then it looks like I could have taken... Oh no, it's black's move here. Yeah, black plays knight. White's move here. White plays knight f3, defending the h-pawn, so I no longer have bishop takes. So I just charge in with f4, attacking the pinned g-pawn. Plays rook d3, and I can grab this pawn. And right here, I missed I missed a very simple tactic. I hope you guys can see it looking at the video. Yeah, it's black's turn to move, and black should just play pawn to e4. You can see that's really an excellent move there, forking these two pieces. I missed that during the game. I played king e7, hoping to get off the f-file in case a rook lands there, and defending my d-pawn, but none of those things were necessary, actually, at this point. I mean, they're good, making my position a little more solid. They're good from that point of view, but yeah, not really needed here, and I had a much better move in e5. So anyway, my opponent plays rook d2. I go bishop c8, thinking maybe I can chase away this knight and then grab a pawn over here. He goes rook to c2, attacking my bishop, and I decide to play e4 here. So this amounts to a trade. He can take my bishop, I take his knight. He decided not to do that, though. And he played instead rook to e2, which is interesting. It pins this pawn, so he's not losing the knight. Keeps more material on, which is probably, from white's point of view, it's probably his best try. Just try and keep as much material on and hope for complications rather than simplifying to a position where he's just lost. Now here I should play bishop to f5 and defend the pawn. Instead I played bishop to e5 with the idea of attacking on g3 here and giving up a pawn. I was sort of expecting him to take that bishop, but he played knight to g5, and then looked like this attack was going nowhere, and this bishop wasn't doing anything, so I just repositioned this back to b7, attacking the undefended d-pawn, and my opponent ran out of time here. So if we back up a little bit, instead of knight g5, yeah, he could have taken here. That's sort of what I was expecting. I take back, and then he can grab this pawn, and I go here, and he can't really defend the d-pawn, so I'm going to win that. So I'll have a piece, and 3 pawns against 2 and 2 on nothing over here. So he'll have only one pawn for my piece after I grab the d-pawn, but he will have, these are connected pass pawns, and they are potentially dangerous. I would have to play carefully. So that would definitely be the best way for White to continue to struggle in this game. So if we look here, yeah, so after bishop e5, just taking the bishop and going down that round. He went knight g5, I went bishop b7, and then he lost on time. I was a little worried in the game about this move, knight e6 attacking my rook, but I have this rook g3 check, and this is just good for me. So I never, even though I was a little bit worried at various times, I never lost the thread. I always maintained some advantage, even if I didn't play the best moves. So that's how the game ended. Hope you guys enjoyed that, and leave any comments you have in the section below. See you again. Bye.